South Africa, welcome back to another episode of the Squatter Camp podcast. I've got one question. Who is actually sponsoring the political parties? We can argue. Some politicians will say that their political parties are sponsored by donors, philanthropists, and business people, crowdfunding, whatever that they say. It's all lies. Actually, politicians are sponsored by drug dealers. In a drug cartel world, there's billions and billions and billions that are actually generated. And you see politicians doing a gala dinner and whatsoever, arranging those kind of things and selling a table for a 500,000, 1 million. I'm trying to actually understand someone who is sane in their mind. For one night, you buy a table for 1 million just to be there. And so that's where money laundering is happening. That's where money laundering is happening. You look at this, especially these black political parties. These people are gangsters. These people are mafias. And when some of us talks about these things, people are saying we hate on our brothers and sisters. They are pushing legitimate businesses and all of that. You can talk about Patriotic Alliance. Patriotic Alliance is run by Gayton McKenzie and Kenny Kunene. Look at their characters. Where are these people coming from? Watch this video. I will talk to you after. So you ask about their background. And before we vote for these people, let us think about that. You look at also Julius Malema. Who's funding him? Where does he stay? It's a problem.
Vision coalesced. In this seductive environment, he met Glenn Agliotti, the flamboyant businessman whose connections would later tie him to murder and drug trafficking. Shadowy company that only deepened Lamas's camouflage. Their paths crossed at Santon City's Brazilian Cafe, a hotspot for the mingling of legitimate and illicit intent. This cafe became the crossroads over which Lamas and Agliotti, along with high-ranking police officials like Jackie Salebi and also Adriano Mazzotti, the owner of a cigarette company Carnelix, who's a known funder of Julius Malema and his projects. Actually, Julius Malema, his wife and kids reside in a house owned by Adriano Mazzotti and Mohammed Syed. I once made a video about them. You can watch it at the end of this video.
Seated here, it's a man called Adriano Mazzotti. And Mo said, I'll ask them to stand up, because these are the two and part of their partners who have given us money on the day we were launching the EFF. When the IEC asked us to pay for money, me and Floyd had nothing. We looked at each other in the eyes and said, what is going to happen? At that time, they asked for 650,000, and we had no means, none whatsoever. Later to be told through a telephone call, Mazzotti has got a very unique voice. Brother, the money is paid. Then we knew that we were good to go. That is how the EFF was allowed to contest the first election in 2014.
So we've had criminal police who were actually, some of them didn't survive anyway. Like the late Jackie Salebi, he didn't survive. Like Khomotso Phahlane, they didn't survive. Becky Cele nearly also hit the ground until he was removed. He nearly got a knock because at some point he slept at Ket Matlala. It's alleged, by the way, that he spent some nights there before Ket Matlala could get a tender from SAPS. The very same South African police service that is supposed to protect the citizens, uphold the laws of this country. They are the ones who are actually dealing with criminals. And it's scary. It's scary. How did Kenny Kunene meet Gayton McKenzie? in prison. The other one was the most prominent gangster leader. The other one was prosecuted for robberies and running a Ponzi scheme, alleged. So later, when they came out of prison, they became millionaires. They established themselves and said to the people, no, they have actually been rehabilitated and they are good people now. But they never really kind of let go of their actually old tactics. And this is showing now when Kenny Kunene is, and these people, sorry, all that they do, they want to become politicians. Because why? When you are a politician, when you are running a political party, that is the strongest bulletproof you can ever use. Look at all these crooks. They are running political parties because they hide behind their political parties. Number one. Number two, they know that's where money laundering can happen without any questions. Because you need to organize rallies and all of that. That is why Julius Malema will never speak about closing borders, because his funder is a cigarette smuggler, a well-known cigarette smuggler. And he has done a lot for him, so he won't drop the ball. He won't actually drop the ball. And it is so sad because, as citizens of this country, we are like voting catchers. Our duty is just to vote. There's nothing that we should be doing, honestly. We just need to vote for them, so we keep them in parliament. So a political power is more influential than any other power. That is why you see presidents like Vladimir Putin from being an agent into becoming a president, and he worked his way to becoming president, and many other people. You can talk about the Glenn Adliotti, who was dealing with the late police commissioner Jackie Slee. We can talk about the Escobar Pablo and many other people. So drugs are actually generating billions, if not trillions. And South African politics is also sponsored by these drug dealers. And you see KT Molefe getting arrested, and all of a sudden someone calls the former NPA head, Godfrey Lebea. And who it is, you find out, oh no, it's Malcolm X. What does he do? No, he's a businessman. What is KT doing? No, he's a businessman. All of those things. Then you'll never understand what is going on with our politicians, police, and the criminals. But one thing that I know, all these people are colleagues.
The story begins long before the bullets tore through the night sky in Johannesburg. It starts in the 1990s, inside the barred confines of Grootvlei prison, where two men, Kenny Kunene and Gayton Mackenzie, first crossed paths. Both were convicted criminals. Kunene, once a schoolteacher, jailed for running a Ponzi scheme and armed robberies. Mackenzie, a high-ranking member of the notorious 26's prison gang. Their friendship, forged in confinement, would later reshape their lives and eventually cast a shadow over South Africa's political and criminal underworld.
So, you can catch an episode, the full episode, on Injula Samson. It's a good channel, in my own opinion, that's actually kind of investigative journalism, showing exactly, how to connect the dots behind these politicians, because I can promise you now, South Africa, these politicians are well connected with criminals. And when you question certain things and people push you to the side, very far anyway, very far. So when KT Molefe was arrested, Malcolm X phoned Godfrey Lebea, said to him, no, there are people who want to arrest my friend here, and Godfrey Lebea called people at the most senior level in SAPS and said, hey, you need to go and find out there. Maybe he said to them, stop those people from doing what they are doing, because that's my guy. I'm just questioning myself. I'm just trying to make sense. Why would just an average citizen getting arrested and all of a sudden the former head of NPA is being called and he sends a team of police to go and intervene? So those people who went to arrest KT Molefe meant business. Even Kenny Kunene was found there. So you can see how big was this thing. And yet we have to be subjected to politicians lying to us. People like Kenny Kunene, he must just forget about politics and it's over with his career. He can go and run and reopen a Zar launch and be a sushi king. Those are the people that are really they look like they are working. They will convince you because, they've got experience in lying. They've got tactics and all of that. But if you look at it closer, they are just crooks, the same as Julius Malema. And people, when you say, hey, watch out for this man, people say, I know, you shouldn't be against our commander, our CIC, and all of that. The minute I start to question your credibility, I start to lose faith in you. So I cannot follow people with questionable characters. If you say to me, MKP will help black people out of poverty. Jacob Zuma was there himself. He was a president for 9 years. What has he done? Those are the real questions that we should be asking. I don't care if they speak good English, they can take interviews, and they are good with public relations. I look at the facts. What have you done? You were there, you were a president, and you've done absolutely nothing for the people. And you come back later, and you want to say, yeah, we can liberate black people. Shame. Black people are the victims of these politicians. It's a fact.
But also, of course, Aman Swat being connected to the Transnet tender, but now also for the murder of DJ Somebody as well. Now, this afternoon, we've invited General Godfrey Lebea to share with us what was or has been his relationship with Katiso Molefe, a man alleged to be the main actor behind a criminal nexus of drug cartels and tenders. Why would Katiso call the head of the Hawks and the head dispatch a team? Well, the General joins us this afternoon. Good afternoon, General. Thank you very much for joining us on the program to shed more light on these developments. So let's start with just clarity here. Did indeed Mr. Katiso Molefe call you to say there are members of a task team that are about to effect an arrest and arrest him, and then you dispatched a team there?
Let me put it in this way. Thank you for inviting me, and thanks for this opportunity. I would like to clarify it in this fashion. On the 6th of December 2024, we were at Deep Endeberg there in Pretoria for our annual award ceremony of the DPCI. That is when I received a call from somebody else that at some stage we might mention the name, but at this stage I will not mention the name. This individual said that there are people at a house of somebody else who is his friend, and these people claim that they are members of the Hawks and they have been sent by me to go to that particular address. So that surprised me. Then I had to check with the Divisional Commissioner for National Priority Offenses in the DPCI, because if there is a team that have got to go and do operation, he will know. And he didn't know about that operation. Then because it is in Sandton, in Gauteng, I checked with the provincial head of the DPCI in Gauteng, or do you know about these people who claim to be coming from the Hawks, who are supposed to be conducting an operation in Sandton? He did not know. And the explanation of the nature of the vehicles that were said to be at the scene created suspicion. You will appreciate that there have been several people who have been pretending to be members of the Hawks, which we have arrested some of them, including police officials from crime intelligence who were pretending to be members of the Hawks.
And here's the former NPA boss, Godfrey Lebea, receiving a call from his friends that one of his friends is being arrested. Then he must send a team to go and investigate. And for him to hide the identity of the person was useless, because the person came out and said, that was me who called Godfrey Lebea. You can imagine. Huh? You're protecting questionable characters. So actually the system, this is how the system is designed. It's designed to protect criminals who are giving money to the government, to politicians and political parties, donating for rally. I always ask myself, how are these political parties and politicians affording? Time and again they have a rally. Time and again they have a rally. And there's a proper stage, proper sound, artist, everything is on set, everything is just on set. And you wonder, how much are these people spending? Can they really be diverting that money maybe to changing people's lives or something? They've got a lot of money. Politicians have got a lot of money. Where do they get the money? It's a question for another day. We don't know.
Perhaps for clarity as well, it might be necessary to know who made the phone call, because I'm sure you've seen, with this matter now having been blown and everybody debating the role of police officers in enabling crime, it seems that people were of the view that Katiso Molefe had access to the head of the Hawks. Perhaps they had a friendship, and he was a person that would have been able to dial the number of the Hawks head when there were police officers about to arrest him, and then the Hawks head sent a team there to possibly intimidate the other team. And for ordinary citizens, for them, they feel deeply aggrieved that they would call 10-111 and hardly sometimes they would get the police answering. So the clarity is sought now as to who was the individual, if perhaps it's not Katiso, the middleman who would have had access to the head of the Hawks to say, establish for me who's about to arrest my friend. You believe it's not time to reveal that name?
Yes, I haven't consulted with the person to check as to whether he is ready to be mentioned in public platform.
You see, in South Africa, there's few General Mkonazi kind of police officers, and there's too many Senzo Mkonus, there's too many Shadrach Sibias, there's too many Godfrey Lebeas, there's too many crooks. Like Mkonazi said, that for sure a police officer cannot make peace with a criminal. So 80% of our policing is contaminated, is full of crooks. Someone said to me, police officers are law enforcers by the day and assassins at night. They assassinate people, they commit serious crimes. And the rods start from the head. We cannot carry on with a rotten president. And for as long as the ANC is still in charge, the ANC is a political party of criminals, and it was built on that. So anyone who's from there or who's there, they are part of the problem. I can mention a few people that they are clean politicians. You look at Mmusi Maimane. Mmusi Maimane is a pastor. He doesn't want to even get himself in this thing of Abu Malema for dealing with Mazotis, and he doesn't do that. Mmusi Maimane doesn't do that. Herman Mashaba doesn't do that. And many other few, some of them like the UDM. If you want to assess political leaders who are not really receiving money from these drug cartels, you look at the finance. When was the last time Mmusi Maimane did a rally and people came? And as much as we say he's a smaller party, but he's a cleanest party. The smaller it is, the clean it is. So most of these people are rotten. They do things at night. They do things behind the scenes. That is why Floyd said EFF is a cult, he knows what he was referring to. He knows. And he also left. He formed his own cult. How is he going to sponsor his party? How is he going to fund? There's few ways of financing your political party. In the first place, to just go and register it. He himself, Floyd, has got questionable characters. The Zondos are there. It's a problem. You go to UNISA now, you find Cyril Ramaphosa with the Lekhanyanis. So bishops and pastors, they have turned into becoming crooks and colluding with politicians. And they do the same thing. They're not helping us. Nothing.
I walk in, you're already biased. Bringing me to the second question, why am I here in Godfrey? Why has this court got jurisdiction on this case? Why is that? It's never been explained to me. So, I'm saying that if I'm not going to get a fair trial in Godfrey, it doesn't help what principles of bail I'm going to raise in this court.
He had previously...
Singing here like a canary is a gentleman who's accused of scamming people more than 4 billion for the past 5 years. And this is the same man who gave Paul Mashatile's wife a diamond. So you can see the link now that all these people are the same, South Africa. Paul Mashatile is a deputy president. You want him to become a president. When he's dealing with Louis, the guy who scammed, who was running a scam. You know, he's a gentleman who was running a scam, allegedly. And he's there in Kosimampuru now. And he's sent multiple times for psychiatry, maybe checking if everything is fine with him. But he's now going crazy there. Because politicians, they will get your hands dirty and they will dump you. They will get your hands dirty, make sure that you are dirty, literally dirty. And then they dump you. They dump you. At some point, he was also associated with Zuma. He himself on record said that I paid 10 million for Jacob Zuma's legal fees. So take politicians and criminals. One thing, there's no difference. One thing, they do the same thing. Sorry, there's no difference. They collude. And politicians, the problem is that they receive money from these people and to sponsor their political parties. That is why I always say I will not be a politician in South Africa, because I know that I'll have to get my hands dirty. I'll have to take dirty money. I'll have to collude with criminals. I have to protect criminals. I will have to, do all sorts of things, to promote crime, because the very same criminals are the ones who will be sponsoring me. You associate yourself with a political party. You have joined a cult, especially parties like ANC, EFF, MKP, Patriotic Alliance. Those are rotten political parties. Rotten to the core. Who's going to deal with Gayton McKenzie? Because now he's being investigated for the K-word, and his party is quiet because he owns the party. He can't discipline himself. He's the boss there. So nothing will happen from his political party because there are no principles there. There's no code of conduct there. It's a party of gangsters. It's a party of 28 and 26 gang. Prison life, behind the scenes, ministers during the day, lying to people. They will lie to those who believe everything, not some of us. Angeke.
That number one would surely be me. I thought that I could be what I wanted to to thee.
Louis Liebenberg, a South African businessman who turned to politics. Earlier this year, he put up his hand to contest for the slice of the electoral pie, but as an independent candidate.
Like I said, at some point, Louis Liebenberg actually wanted to open a political party and contest as an independent candidate. And you know what these people do? They open political parties. They act like they are helping people, the poor people. Poor people in South Africa and everywhere else, by the way, are the most vulnerable people that they can be taken advantage of. And, they are easily convinced. They are easily convinced. So it is so sad because people who are actually criminals are taking advantage of the political system in South Africa. That is why we will never get it right, because we continue to vote for criminals. Wolves in sheepskin. Wolves in sheepskin. Good Samaritan, good people, legitimate people. They don't have money, so they can't influence nothing. There are good people out there, but they don't have money. They can't influence nothing. There's no way you can have an influence if you are broke. There's nothing you can do. All that is going to happen is that they will tell you to shut up. So the people who have got money can start talking and lie to people. And people are going to believe what they are saying because they've got money. They will give them food parcels. They will slaughter cows for them, make rallies and all of that. Make fancy stages and call artists that you've never seen in your life. You go and see them performing for free. Thank you, South Africa. I'll see you next time. Now, those who have not subscribed, please subscribe. We'll keep engaging. Sharp. Our political system is rotten to the core. I don't know what to say. I'll see you on the comment section.